and ho, ho, mocked the rest of them, and again they all shouted with spite and ill will, and the poor moon crouched down, and wished she was dead and done with, and they fought and squabbled what they should do with her, till a pale grey light began to come in the sky, and it drew nigh the dawning, and when they saw that, they were feared lest they shouldn't have time to work their will, and they caught a hold of her, with horrid bony fingers, and laid her deep in the water at the foot of the snag, and the bogles fetched a strange big stone and rolled it on top of her, to keep her from rising, and they told two of the willow wikes to take turns in watching on the black snag, to see that she lay safe and still, and couldn't get out to spoil their sport. And there lay the poor moon, dead and buried in the bog, till someone will set her loose, and who'd know where to look for her. Well, the days passed, and 'twas the time for the new moon's coming, and the folk put pennies in their pockets and straws in their caps so as to be ready for her, and looked about, for the moon was a good friend to the marsh folk, and they were main glad when the dark time was gone, and the paths were safe again, and the evil things were driven back by the blessed light into the darkness and the water holes. But days and days passed, and the new moon never came, and the nights were aye dark, and the evil things were worse than ever, and still the days went on, and the new moon never came. Naturally the poor folk were strangely feared and mazed, and a lot of them went to the wise woman who dwelt in the old mill, and asked if so be she could find out where the moon was gone. Well, said she, after looking in the brew pot, and in the mirror, and in the book, it be main queer, but I can't rightly tell ye what's happed to her. If ye hear what, come and tell me. So they went their ways, and as days went by, and never a moon come, naturally they talked. My word, I reckon they did talk. Their tongues wagged at home, and at the inn, and in the garth. But so came one day, as they sat on the great settle in the inn, a man from the far end of the boglands was smoking and listening, when all at once he sat up and slapped his knee. My faix, says he, I've clean forgot, but I reckon I kens where the moon be. And he told them of how he was lost in the bogs, and how, when he was nigh dead with fright, the light shone out, and he found the path and got home safe. So off they all went to the wise woman, and told her about it, and she looked long in the pot and the book again, and then she nodded her head. It's dark still, childer, dark, says she, and I can't rightly see, but do as I tell ye, and ye'll find out for yourselves. Go all of ye, just afore the night gathers, put a stone in your mouth, and take a hazel twig in your hands, and say never a word till you're safe home again. Then walk on and fear not, far into the midst of the marsh, till ye find a coffin, a candle, and a cross. Then ye'll not be far from your moon. Look, and map and ye'll find her. So came the next night in the darklings. Out they went all together, every man with a stone in his mouth, and the hazel twig in his hand, and feeling, thou mayst reckon, main feared and creepy, and they stumbled and stuttered along the paths into the midst of the bogs. They saw not, though they heard sighings and flutterings in their ears, and felt cold wet fingers touching them, but all at once, looking around for the coffin, the candle, and the cross, while they came nigh to the pool beside the great snag, where the moon lay buried, and all at once they stopped, quaking amazed and scary, for there was a great stone, half in, half out of the water, for all the world like a strange big coffin, and at the head was a black snag, stretching out its two arms in a dark gruesome cross, and on it a titty light flickered, like a dying candle, and they all knelt down in the mud, and said, Our Lord, first forward, because of the cross, and then backward, to keep off the bogles, but without speaking out, for they knew that the evil things would catch them, if they didn't do as the wise woman told them. Then they went nigher, and they took hold of the big stone, and shoved it up, and afterwards they said that for one titty minute they saw a strange and beautiful face looking up at them glad like out of the black water, but the light came so quick and so wide and shining,